Hello, everyone. Welcome to our news channel today. If you're interested, don't forget to subscribe to our channel, like, comment, share and turn on notifications. Today, Ethiopia ambassador meets President Trump. A fighting happened at Yawe area, Gambela, famine at Birabiye Boma, South Sudan, and how Trump loomed over G7 despite early departure. To the United States, Binalf has met President Donald Trump at the House, says the embassy. On its social media page, the Embassy of Ethiopia in Washington stated that Binalf, Ambassador Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary of Ethiopia to the United States, held his first meeting with President Donald J. Trump at the White House. He received a formal diplomatic welcome, which reflects the long-standing relationship between Ethiopia and the United States. This meeting marks the beginning of many future discussions. The United States and Ethiopia commemorated 120 years of diplomatic relations in 2023 and share mutual interests in promoting peace, stability, and economic development. Accepting the frequent recommendations of the U.S.-dominated International Monetary Fund, IMF, Ethiopia introduced economic and political reforms in 2018 to transition the country toward a private sector-led economy and citizen-empowered liberal democracy. At Yawe area in Gambela. Let's see what's happening here. The fights you've been hearing about were actually just some boys watching DSTV. They've now been stopped by the authorities and taken to the police station. Things have calmed down now. So here in Birabiye Boma in South Sudan, they went to visit their community for a famine that took place during the conflict that's happened. Many were orphans, widows and hopeless. Trump is departing the G7 early as conflict between Israel and Iran shows signs of intensifying. Josh Boak, Rob Gillies and Jill Lawless, Associated Press. 2 days ago, United States President Donald Trump makes his way to the official welcome at the G7 summit in Kananaskis, Alberta, Canada, Monday, June 16, 2025. Adrian Wild, The Canadian Press via AP, Kananaskis, Alberta, AP, President Donald Trump abruptly left the Group of Seven summit Monday, departing a day early as the conflict between Israel and Iran intensified and the U.S. leader declared that Tehran should be evacuated immediately. World leaders had gathered in Canada with the specific goal of helping to defuse a series of global pressure points, only to be disrupted by a showdown over Iran's nuclear program that could escalate in dangerous and uncontrollable ways. Israel launched an aerial bombardment campaign against Iran 4 days ago. At the summit, Trump warned that Tehran needs to curb its nuclear program before it's too late. He said Iranian leaders would like to talk, but they had already had 60 days to reach an agreement on their nuclear ambitions and failed to do so before the Israeli aerial assault began. They have to make a deal, he said. Asked what it would take for the U.S. to get involved in the conflict militarily, Trump said Monday morning, "I don't want to talk about that." So far, Israel has targeted multiple Iranian nuclear program sites but has not been able to destroy Iran's Fordo uranium enrichment facility. The site is buried deep underground, and to eliminate it, Israel may need the 30,000-pound, 14,000-kilogram, GBU-57 massive ordnance penetrator, the U.S. bunker-busting bomb that uses its weight and sheer kinetic force to reach deeply buried targets. Israel does not have the munition or the bomber needed to deliver it. The penetrator is currently delivered by the B-2 stealth bomber. By Monday afternoon, Trump warned ominously on social media, everyone should immediately evacuate Tehran. Shortly after that, Trump decided to leave the summit and skip a series of Tuesday meetings that would address the ongoing war in Ukraine and global trade issues. As Trump posed for a picture Monday evening with the other G7 leaders, he said simply, "I have to be back, very important." Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney, the host, said, "I am very grateful for the President's presence and I fully understand. Crises abound. The sudden departure only heightened the drama of a world that seems on verge of several firestorms. Trump already has hit several dozen nations with severe tariffs that risk a global economic slowdown. There has been little progress on settling the wars in Ukraine and Gaza. But in a deeper sense, Trump saw a better path in the United States taking solitary action, rather than in building a consensus with the other G7 nations of Canada, France, Germany, Italy, Japan and the United Kingdom. British Prime Minister Keir Starmer, French President Emmanuel Macron, Italian Premier Giorgia Meloni and German Chancellor Friedrich Merz held an hour-long informal meeting soon after arriving at the summit late Sunday to discuss the widening conflict in the Mideast, Starmer's office said. And Merz told reporters that Germany was planning to draw up a final communiqué proposal on the Israel-Iran conflict that will stress that Iran must under no circumstances be allowed to acquire nuclear weapons-capable material. The G7 leaders all signed a joint statement Monday night saying Iran can never have a nuclear weapon, as they urged a broader de-escalation of hostilities in the Middle East, including a ceasefire in Gaza. Trump, for his part, saw Iran is not winning this war. And they should talk immediately before it's too late. But by early Monday evening, as he planned to depart Kananaskis and the Canadian Rocky Mountains, Trump seemed willing to push back against his own supporters who believe the U.S. should embrace a more isolationist approach to world affairs. It was a sign of the heightened military, political and economic stakes in a situation evolving faster than the summit could process.